What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we are talking about the 1935 Universal Monster classic, The Bride of Frankenstein.
Stronger than a pretty little love story. So why shouldn't I write a monster?
This monster may have only been on the screen for 3 minutes in her own movie, but like, is she not glorious? Like, not only is the character cool, but this movie is probably one of the best Universal Monster movies. Let's break down a little summary of the movie before we get into the nitty-gritty. This movie starts off showing Mary Shelley, the author of the Frankenstein novel, kind of talking about the book and publishing and blah, 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 blah. And she reveals that that was not the end of the story. And then it goes into the movie, which leaves off exactly where the first Frankenstein movie left off. We're at the windmill, it's burnt down, everybody's like, yay, that was much rejoiced, because they're all, the monster's dead, whatever, life can go on, right? Not exactly. Dr. Henry Frankenstein is taken back to his house, presumed dead. He's not. Psych, life is all cool and happy for him, but the monster still lurks. And we see him in the woods making friends with an old blind man, but of course he can't have that happiness for long. The hunters find him, chaos ensues, until he is captured by Dr. Frankenstein and his former teacher. And they decide they're gonna make the monster a mate. Only she's like really not that into him, and so then chaos ensues again. Like permanently till the end of the movie, sort of, for some of us. Is it a happy ending? I don't know. I love this movie. Dare I say, I like this one even more than the first one. It has a different feel to it. Obviously, it's grown a lot. It's 1935. We've progressed a couple years into having talking and sound and pictures. So, it's got a different vibe to it than the first one. Now, originally when making this movie, the director, James Whale, did not want to come back for a sequel. So naturally, Universal considered doing it without him. When they were looking at other directors, they had several other different storylines that they were going to follow, and one of them was where an educated monster takes over and continues the research of his father, Dr. Frankenstein. And I would love to see where that goes. Like, that sounds so interesting. With the dark universe and everybody getting back into Universal Monsters, I'm just saying, if anybody sees this and they want to make that movie, you make me happy. So maybe do it. So we do have some of the same characters and actors. Obviously, we still have Boris Karloff as the monster, and Dr. Frankenstein is still played by Colin Clive. However, Colin Clive kind of like dips off into this one. I thought he was fantastic in the first one. Well, he's a little bit of an alcoholic, and in this one he was really, really struggling with his alcoholism. But James Whale said that Colin Clive's hysterical quality was necessary to the movie, which is funny to me because he wasn't quite as hysterical, I guess because he was drunk, but you could kind of tell that this dude was struggling in the movie because if you notice, almost every time you see him, he's sitting down. So I guess gravity was kind of a struggle for him on set. Karloff returns, and he has a lot to do in this movie, much more than the first one. They wanted Frankenstein to speak in this one. Karloff protested against this hardcore. He did not want the monster to speak. However, he was overruled. Because of this, he actually left in his bridge work that he took out in the previous movie, which is why his makeup looks a little fuller. But Boris Karloff kills it in this role. This role is so touching and heartbreaking to me. He's in the woods, he stumbles upon this lady and accidentally scares her, tries to rescue her, and people are chasing after him. It's wild. So he stumbles upon this little house in the woods, kind of goes in, and this man's like, hey, can I help you? You're like in my house, bro. But instead of being mad, he's like, come in, you're my friend. Like, just so welcoming. Well, turns out the guy's blind, right? And he is just so welcoming, telling him, if you need help, I can help you. I can be here. What is it that you need? And he realizes that the monster, but he doesn't realize he's a monster, he realizes this person can't speak. And he gets so emotional, and he says, I prayed every day to God for a friend, and here you are. And in that moment, I am like, I actually get emotional when I watch this movie. Who can't relate to that? At one point, the character says, it's bad to be alone. And I mean, it just breaks your heart, because we've all been there. We've all been alone, and all have wanted someone to be there with us when maybe nobody could. And it's just heartbreaking. But the friendship between the monster and the blind man is straight up wholesome and pure, and I love it. Through staying with this blind man, he actually learns to speak. Slowly, it's, very, very small words. He's friend, good, things like that, before he can start to build up on his sentences and come at Frankenstein and be like, yo, bro, you need to work, you need to make my lady, because, time's ticking over here, and come on. So, as I said, Dr. Henry Frankenstein teams up with his former teacher to create another monster, the Bride. This doctor's a little wild and crazy. He breaks out these little miniature humans that he's created, and at that point, it's kind of weird. I'm like, what are we watching? What is this? What's going on? Are we at the circus? The way they shoot the resurrection or creation scene to make the Bride is so much cooler than the first one. They have a lot of these really intense, close-up shots that are all dramatic and shadowy. As we all know, it didn't work out so good for these two little sweethearts. She's created, she's walking around, she's got her new dress on, and the monster comes down the stairs. He's like, say baby, what's up? We going out? And she just screams, just loses her mind over it. To the point where the doctors are like, okay, lady, we gotta hold you. We got a fainting woman on set. What's going on? Now, Elsa doesn't do much in the way of this character. I mean, granted, she is only on screen, like I said, for 3 minutes, but she really doesn't get to do much in that time except for scream and hiss. What's interesting is Elsa was inspired for all this screaming and hissing by swans that she saw in the park, because she said they're really very nasty creatures. And I agree, birds are terrifying. She has a fit, she's losing her mind, and we end this movie much like the first one. We're just blowing down in flames. But I love this movie. This is, to me, one of the best ones. I love, 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 love the character of the Bride, and it's just a shame that we didn't get to see more of her. And I'm hoping with all these Universal Monster reboots and remakes that we get to see a movie just about her and really delve into that character, maybe past just hissing and screaming. Wouldn't it also be interesting to see a movie where maybe the monster and the bride did get along and they just lived out this weird undead life? I mean, that would be pretty cool to see. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on The Bride of Frankenstein. I think this is just one of the best movies. It's heartfelt, it's scary, it's dramatic, a little wacky at times, but one of the best Universal Monster pictures. If you guys like this video and want to see more Universal Monster reviews, check in the description box below. I will link all the previous movies that I've reviewed. And if you want to hit that subscribe button, you can catch new ones that I do in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you nerds later.